I think teenagers are sort of attracted to, the whole dystopian kind of fighting for your life business, the kind of Hunger Games thing. It's a fantasy. They know it's a fantasy, but I think there's a bit of a preparation in the years between sort of 12 and maybe 20 something, 22, of working towards a life without parents, without adults, without somebody taking care of you. And so all of those sort of dystopian, kids on their own save the world, I think is almost a metaphor for, the kids being able to go out into the world and be on their own. It's very strange to see characters on screen that I've sort of made up in my head, but in a way I think the way that I deal with it is I see the film and the book as two really different entities. So I kind of think of the Daisy on screen as Kevin's Daisy, and the Daisy in the book is my Daisy. Kevin made Daisy, I think, much tougher in the film than she was in the book. I think he sort of took that that shell, of I don't care about anything, and really ran with it in a way, and used her her sort of hardness in a way, her determination and her damage as well, as the element that allows her to survive, which is a little bit different from the book, but is really interesting and works very well on film. I was really bowled over by it when I first saw it, and I really loved the power of it. I mean, I really came out kind of almost shaken. And then as I walked out of the screening room, Kevin MacDonald was sort of standing at the bar looking like a kind of 12-year-old, absolutely, practically shaking in his boots, I think so worried that I might not like it, but luckily I did. The question about whether kids need strong protagonists and strong female protagonists is kind of a funny one. Yes, obviously. I mean, I think children need strong women in their lives, and they need strong men in their lives. They need creative men in their lives and creative women in their lives. I mean, they need a little bit of everything. Whether we have an obligation to put it into literature is something altogether different. Again, I kind of write about strong women because I'm interested in strong women, and because when I was probably 14 or 15, I always felt like I was too strong, that I was being told all the time to tone myself down. Yes, it's definitely something I'm interested in, but not as an obligation, just as a, it's as if I'm talking to my daughter in a way and saying, be strong. A lot of people talk about the blurring of boundaries between childhood and adulthood, and I always think people have it slightly wrong. There's a lot of talk about how childhood has somehow disappeared, but I don't actually think it's childhood that's disappeared. I think it's adulthood that's disappeared, because in my generation, nobody's grown up. I mean, everybody's still wearing jeans and buying toys and, going off on adventure holidays when they're in their 60s and 70s. And so it's not so much that children aren't children anymore, but that adults aren't adults. And I think that does skew the way kids look at themselves. In Picture Me Gone, my protagonist is 12, and I always think 12 is a really interesting age because it's just at the point where kids start to realize that they're not going to be kids forever, that they're grown-ups, that they're parents, that the people in their lives are fallible, that they're going to die, that their job is to separate from their family rather than just to be loved by their parents and taken care of by their parents. And so really Picture Me Gone is very much about that moment in someone's life where she realizes that her perfect family is flawed in a way that all adults are flawed, and that in a way she has to trust herself almost more.